High above the quiet spinning of galaxies, on a cloud that had no business existing in a vacuum, two figures stood across from each other at a small juxtaposition of multiple galaxies. One wore a laurel wreath and looked mildly annoyed at everything. The other had a bead that seemed to contain weather patterns. Zeus flicked a tiny lightning bolt between his fingers like a nervous habit. I'm telling you, they are not going to make it. Odin took a slow sip from a mug labeled world's wisest being, self-proclaimed. You say that every millennium. Yes, and I'm right a statistically significant amount of the time. Odin raised an eyebrow. Define significant. Zeus waved vaguely toward a glowing sphere hovering between them. It showed a small blue planet, swirling with clouds and blinking with artificial lights. Look at them. They invent flying machines and then complain about legroom. They discover the atom and immediately think, what if we made it angry? Odin leaned forward, studying the planet. They also compose music, write poetry, and have invented, what do they call it? Garlic bread. Zeus paused. That is a point in their favor. The sphere zoomed in slightly, showing a city at night. Cars crawled like glowing beetles. Somewhere, a human tripped over absolutely nothing. Zeus pointed. See, that one just fell over. He stood back up, Odin countered calmly. Barely. That was not a confident recovery. Odin chuckled. You're judging an entire species on one individual's lack of coordination. I'm judging them on a pattern, Zeus replied. They keep inventing things that make their lives easier and then use the extra time to argue with strangers. Odin nodded thoughtfully. Yes, that is remarkably consistent. They watched as the sphere shifted to a different region, lush forests, rivers winding like silver threads. A group of humans sat around a fire, laughing. Odin gestured. Look there. Community. Storytelling. Cooperation. These are good signs. Zeus squinted. One of them is definitely about to say something controversial. A moment passed. The group erupted into loud disagreement. Zeus leaned back smugly. Told you. Odin sighed. Still, disagreement is not extinction. No, but it's a hobby of theirs, Zeus said. They argue about everything. Weather. Food. Whether a hot dog is a sandwich. Odin froze. Is it? Zeus opened his mouth, then stopped. We are not doing this. They sat in silence for a moment, both clearly thinking about it. Odin shook his head. Focus. The question is whether they will survive. Zeus tapped the sphere, and it split into multiple smaller views, melting ice caps, crowded cities, satellites orbiting like anxious bees. They are heating their own planet, Zeus said. That's bold. Not wise, but bold. Odin stroked his beard. Perhaps they will adapt. They are arguing about whether it's happening. While it is happening. Odin winced slightly. That is less ideal. The sphere shifted again, showing a rocket launching into space. Zeus brightened a little. Now that is interesting. They are trying to leave. Odin smiled. Exploration. A noble instinct. Or an escape plan, Zeus said. They might ruin one planet and then go looking for another. Odin considered this. Like cosmic locusts. Zeus nodded. Exactly. Adorable, argumentative locusts. The rocket in the sphere wobbled slightly. Is that supposed to do that? Odin asked. It's fine, Zeus said, though he leaned in a bit closer. Probably. The rocket stabilized and continued upward. Odin exhaled. Good. I was about to intervene. Zeus glanced at him. You're not supposed to intervene. Odin shrugged. I intervene wisely. You once turned into a bird to win an argument. That was a strategic transformation. They watched as the rocket disappeared into orbit. Odin folded his arms. You focus too much on their flaws. Zeus leaned back. And you ignore them. I acknowledge them, Odin said. But I also see potential. They are young. They've been around for quite a while, Zeus countered. Cosmically speaking, they are toddlers, Odin replied. Very clever toddlers with access to fire and questionable judgment. Zeus smirked. That is not reassuring. The sphere zoomed again, this time showing a laboratory. Humans in white coats worked intently. Odin pointed. Look, they seek knowledge. Zeus nodded slowly. Yes, and occasionally they create things that glow in the dark for no good reason. One of the scientists held up a small vial that emitted an eerie green light. Odin frowned. That does seem unnecessary. It's always unnecessary until it becomes a problem, Zeus said. They watched as the scientist accidentally knocked something over. A small puff of smoke. Everyone panicked briefly. Then, nothing catastrophic happened. Odin smiled. See? Crisis averted. Zeus narrowed his eyes. That was a near crisis. Those count. The sphere shifted again, this time showing a quiet moment, a person sitting alone, looking up at the night sky. Odin softened. They wonder. Zeus followed his gaze. About what? Everything, Odin said. Where they came from. What lies beyond. Whether they are alone. Zeus tilted his head. They are definitely not alone. Odin chuckled. No, but we're not exactly easy to reach. Zeus gestured at the vastness around them. We're literally standing in a rip in space. Exactly, Odin said. Not obvious. The human in the sphere made a wish on a shooting star. Zeus leaned forward. What did they wish for? Odin closed his eye briefly, as if listening to something distant. Then he smiled faintly. To understand. Zeus paused. Not for wealth, he asked. No. Not for power. No. Zeus leaned back, thoughtful. Hey. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Zeus snapped his fingers, and the sphere split again, this time showing chaos, storms, conflicts, shouting. Counterpoint, Zeus said. Odin sighed. Yes, they struggle. They excel at struggling, Zeus said. And yet they persist, Odin replied. They persist in making things harder for themselves. They persist despite that, Odin corrected. Zeus tapped the table. All right. Let's be practical. Survival requires stability. They are not stable. Odin nodded. True. But survival also requires adaptability. They are very adaptable. Zeus considered this. They did invent both fast food and slow cooking. Exactly. And they created both complicated technology and instructions they refused to read. Odin smiled. A versatile species. Zeus sighed dramatically. I don't know, Odin. I've seen civilizations rise and fall. These ones, they are unpredictable. Odin leaned forward. That is precisely why they are interesting. Zeus smirked. You're entertained. Partly, Odin admitted. But also hopeful. Zeus raised an eyebrow. Hopeful. Odin gestured at the sphere. They are capable of great destruction, yes. But also great kindness. They build, they create, they care. The sphere showed someone helping another to their feet after a fall. Zeus nodded slowly. That one didn't trip. No, Odin said. But even if they had, someone would have helped them up. Zeus watched the scene quietly. All right, he said after a moment. Let's say they might survive. Odin smiled. Progress. But, Zeus added, holding up a finger, they are going to make it unnecessarily difficult. Odin laughed. On that, we agree completely. Zeus leaned back, stretching. So what do we do? Place bets? Intervene. Send a strongly worded thunderstorm. Odin shook his head. We watch. That's it. That's it. Zeus frowned. That feels passive. Odin took another sip from his mug. It is. But it is also appropriate. Zeus glanced at the sphere again. You really think they have a chance? Odin followed his gaze. The planet turned slowly, clouds drifting, lights flickering in the darkness. Yes, Odin said quietly. I do. Zeus was silent for a long moment. Then he sighed. Fine. I'll give them a 50% chance. Odin chuckled. Generous. I'm feeling optimistic, Zeus said. Don't get used to it. The sphere flickered slightly, as if reacting to their attention. On the surface of the tiny blue world, millions of small, ordinary moments continued. Arguments, laughter, mistakes, discoveries. Zeus watched it all, then smirked faintly. All right, he said. I admit it. Odin glanced at him. Admit what? Zeus leaned forward, eyes glinting. They are entertaining. Odin smiled. That they are. And high above the universe, in a rip that absolutely should not have been there, two ancient beings sat and watched, debating, doubting, and, perhaps just a little, hoping.